This is a Thiers Issard Le Petit Français. It's a 5/8 razor that happens to have a very wide spine. This is the only new razor that I've seen that has over a 22-degree bevel angle. Often with some of these shorter razors, shorter in height razors, the bevel angles are greater, but I haven't seen one that's 22 degrees. So the question today is, will it shave? And we're going to find out. I've done a little two-part series of honing this razor, and I'll link that in the description below. Today the soap is going to be Noble Otter Monarch, and we'll be talking about the soap as we go along, but let's get started. I want to do a pretty thorough people's pre-shave today. I want to really prepare my skin to be extra saturated with a soapy slickness before I start. And I'm going to be taking my time and trying to figure out a technique that I can use to make this razor work for me, and then hopefully for the owner, who is Marion the Barbarian. This is, being a new razor, this is not a razor that, and it's a nice razor. It's not a razor that you want to modify tremendously in order to get a better bevel angle. Noble Otter soap base is excellent. I don't know what he calls this. I obviously preloaded the brush. I'm a face latherer, so I just loaded from the tub. I'm adding some, dipping the tips and adding some water in order to make the lather thin and very slick. And we're ready to go here. Alrighty. Now what I'm going to do is vary the touch, vary the angle, go over areas multiple times. Varying the angle slightly, and I don't think you're going to be able to see that I'm varying the angle, but I am. This is not a bevel that does well with long strokes. But it feels pretty darn comfortable to me. Using these shorter overlapping strokes. I can tell that it's a wider bevel. You know immediately when you raise the angle. Keeping the angle low is very comfortable. Raising it low is very comfortable. Raising it slightly, the edge feels a little harsh. I know from testing that the apex is quite keen. And for what it is, I'm getting a very comfortable shave. If closeness is good for this shave, I would use this razor again, using this method. Often I will start at a higher angle and rotate to a lower angle. Here I'm landing softly and rotating, landing softly at a low angle, and except for here under the nose. I'm varying that angle. I land, go a little lower, and then come back a little bit. Based on comfort. And then the repeating, going over the area allows me to know if I'm removing hair, which I am. Yeah, since I shave every day, I've done a few of these first passes, so that's a very respectable first pass. So this is not ideal geometry, but so far, with managing technique, I'm able to make it work for me. And the razor is so cool. I mean, I would use this razor if I can make it work. I would use the razor just because I think it's a very cool razor. I'm astounded that Thiers Issard would release a razor like this, but I'd love to hear their justification for this. Is this with even an 18 degree? I mean, if this was 18 degrees, this would be a stunningly great razor. Second pass feels very good. Edge is very comfortable using this technique. It's definitely a technique that, if you're not accustomed to landing softly and using varying ever so slightly and using a light touch, low angle, if that's not the way you shave, and a lot of people don't. They land and use a fair amount of pressure to shave, and you can tell because of the way their skin moves. But if this is part of your technique, and it certainly is Marion's, I've watched him shave, So I think he could manage this and enjoy this razor. I'm enjoying using it at the moment. I mean, admittedly, I'm quite curious about this technique. It's definitely working for me. The edge is comfortable. We'll see. I'm going to do my standard 2-pass test shave. When you're using a low angle, skin stretching matters very much. Whether you do that by making guitar player faces or by actually pulling the skin, or both. It really makes a difference in this method, where you're using that low angle, landing softly, and modifying what you're doing by feel. Quite a quiet little razor. Okay. I think this is cutting pretty well. I can tell from the way that cheek feels. So while I can't whip the razor around my face the way I would a different razor, you know, one that's within the more typical geometric range, I feel like this strategy is working. At least for me. I hope it works for Marion. That's Mr. Barbarian to you. All right, let's see where we ended up. Oh, that's darn good. That's real good. Yeah, that's real good. I mean, that's, for what it is, that's a really good shave. I'm going to see what a little touching up does for me here. See if I can feel it. This is going to be higher angle. I touch up at a bit higher angle. Quite nice, actually. Well, I have definitely learned something today. And I was really curious, and I'm super thrilled. Yeah, that worked out really well. That's a good shave. That's a really good shave. Oh, I'm thrilled. Looking forward to, I might send this back early. I have a couple of more of Marion's razors. Again, Mr. Barbarian to you. But I'm real anxious to see. He's particular about his edges, and I am too. So I get that. So I'm anxious to see if he can make this work. All right, let's put on some toner. Gonna do cucumber, Thayers cucumber, of course. I only have at the moment Thayers cucumber and coconut, but I'm gonna get. I used to have pretty much all of their scents with their witch hazel toner. I think I'm gonna get rose and lavender again, just to have some variety. But man, very, very good. I'm surprised and quite pleased. Okay, I'm gonna clean up and I will be right back. All right, done cleaning up here. I didn't talk much about the soap. In fact, I didn't talk at all about the soap. But I picked Monarch for two reasons. First is a Texan Shaves is doing a week of Noble Otter soaps, and I easily have a week's worth of soaps. So I thought I'd join in here on a Friday. And the other reason I picked this is that the fragrance is modeled off of a French market. The scent itself has a floral component to it, a lavender component to it. And it's powder. You can get the powder off the tub. Yeah, you get the powder off the tub, and I got that when shaving. But for me, here's what the soap looks like. For me, this is a sandalwood scent, and that's what I get. I get the low notes of sandalwood with some smoothness. I don't remember what creates the smoothness. It might be amber or vanilla or something. I'll put the notes up as usual. The brush today was a Wild West Brushworks brush handle with a Cashmere synthetic knot in it. I'm going to use the Noble Otter Monarch Aftershave. Noble Otter has terrific aftershaves. I mean, the scents are good, but the actual formulation of the aftershave is really nice. And so this is sort of a tale of the tape on the shave, but I already know it's a great shave. I am stoked at this result. I mean, you do have to alter your technique to make this work, but the combination of a soft edge and different technique brings a whole bunch of razors into play for me, and I hope for others. I hope this is helpful for others. Because of the powdery scent with Monarch, I'm going to be using Pinaud, Clubman Pinaud talc today. Not my favorite talc because it gets everywhere. This is a very thin cornstarchy talc, but it definitely gives you that powdery thing that mixes well with barbershop type scents. This is not, Monarch is not a barbershop scent, but it has that powdery component that a lot of barbershop scents do have. Okay, thank you for staying with me. Thank you for watching and your comments. To me, I really appreciate those. Please keep them coming. And I don't do this often enough, but thank you to those who actually subscribe to my hijinks. I appreciate that very much. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.